Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is September the 30th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Tuesday to ya. Hopefully the day treated you well. As for me, my day was good. We got up pretty well. Got to work. Work was pretty good. Nothing too crazy. I think it kind of popped into my head why we, or at least this is a speculation, a reason why we, even though we were kind of in this pre-peak, so to speak, why things have slowed down as of this week. And I think what has happened is we have our Nepali holiday. I say our, but there's a Nepali holiday, and a lot of our warehouse, a lot of people who work in our warehouse are Nepali. So this is a thing that I peeped was like a big issue, I think maybe 2-3 years back at least, where we kind of realized, oh, everyone's calling off for this holiday, and even though it's not like a federal holiday that is celebrated across the country in the US of A, this dramatically affects us because we got to get our orders out. So I think maybe what happened, once again, this is me speculating, is maybe there's a little bit of peak action that happened, or maybe it was us just trying to get as much orders out as we can, and then maybe slowing up for this week. And I think there's in the upcoming weeks, there's another Nepali holiday that's taking place. So, I think that's why things have kind of been a little bit slower over the past week or so, which, hey, I'll take it. For whatever reason, I'll take a slow down, especially before we, pick back up coming October. I would say most likely by the end of October, we will pick up for sure, because, we're going to be gearing up for the peak for the winter, the holiday months. So yeah, today was good. It was solid. I feel like the vibes were nice. People came through with the nice Nepali garb, the nice dresses and outfits, and it was really cool. So it's always nice to see. I missed out on the food because they start serving food around 5:30, and I get out an hour before that. So that's unfortunate. That's a bit of a bummer, but that's okay. I don't really need all that. But yeah, post work, we went to the gym. Gym was solid even for a busy Tuesday. I got on all my machines, hit all the equipment that I wanted to do. The pump was solid. So yeah, it's been a good day. It's been a solid day. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and let's get into some news. We have a lot to cover. It's a big episode. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. It's too big. It's too big of an episode. But we'll talk about that in a second. Ooh la la. Okay. So I figured we kind of do this episode a bit of offbeat episode style. Kind of doing a little bit of headline hunting, kind of just hitting, the main points, riffing a bit, moving on. Probably going to be the best way to kind of approach most of this episode, because we have a lot to cover. A lot of, like I said, Trump-based related news and some other international stuff that I wanted to talk about, riff on. Give my 2 cents, so to speak. But yeah, let's start off with some headline hunts from Google News. This one, I'm gonna say it. I'm surprised that it looks like this is gonna go down. But from Politico, shut down near certain after Senate again rejects funding bills. So we've covered at least several times on just the run of this podcast alone, government shutdowns being pending, and we get right to the brink of it, and then at the very last minute we pull out, we kick the can further down, whatever. But it looks like the Democrats were trying to put up a fight to try to winnow out some changes from the whole big beautiful burrito bill, or whatever the fuck you're calling it, the BBB. and essentially get some health care back for people before this completely got cemented. And they said, hey, we're going to fight over this here and now. And the Republicans are like, no, you're not. Like, we don't want to negotiate with you. We don't have to. Like, they had a couple of, like, quote unquote sit downs, but it's just not coming to anything. It's not matriculating to anything. And essentially the brinksmanship here is, well, you need, in the Senate, you need some Democrats to pass this bill. And they're like, well, we're not going to go along with this. And essentially they said, well, fine, then we'll let it go to a shutdown. The Republicans are saying, hey, we'll let it go to a shutdown. People get furloughed. Actually, that's what you think. We're going to fucking fire people. We're just going to like sack them. And I guess at this point, at least as of right now, Schumer, the Democrats are saying, well, that's fine. You've been firing people. You've been letting people go. So what difference does this make? So, I mean, I guess it seems like on both sides, for the first time since 2018, last time Trump was in office, right, that we are going to have a government shutdown. So I'll probably wait till tomorrow to talk more details, give an update on the situation. But I didn't want to like dive all the way into this and then have to talk about it tomorrow one way or another. So there's the headline there. Let's see. Hegseth pushes to remake the military in his preferred image. So Hegseth rallied a bunch of top brass from all, in outposts all over the world, and essentially said, you guys got to come back to America. I got to have a big talking to all y'all. I got to tell y'all some shit. So everyone gathered, and, for this big kind of like quieted, like, what are we here for? What's going on? What are we about to talk about? Essentially, the whole focus on a true warrior's ethos. I don't know. I'm obviously paraphrasing this whole kind of fucking bullshit. But essentially, he's like, yeah, I don't want any of that woke shit in the military anymore. That's done. We're putting the kibosh on that. You can't be fat. You can't have a beard. We're upping the physical standard, and it doesn't matter who you are, male or female. If you're not up to snuff, you're not up to snuff, which lines up with his whole fucking machismo of like how he wants a certain, I feel like he wants a certain kind of man, to be in this position. And women are just not cut out for it, at least not in the military, like combat field. I feel like that's more or less what Hegseth has been saying since before he has gotten this position. It is what he is trying to hammer out now that he is in this position. And, okay, all right, man. We hear you, dude. You're the strongest guy. You're a big, strong man, Pete. You're really showing us how it is to be a true warrior. I fucking guess, man. So yeah. We'll see what comes of this fucking bullshit. It definitely seemed, though, from what I gathered, that, like I said, he dragged all these top brass military officials here and then said, hey, if you don't like it, you can quit. Also, as we're noting, this made such a hubbub, and Trump, I think, also saw a moment here to be like, oh, I should not just tune into this. I should show up for this. I should speak on this. And he even said, like, hey, if I see anyone who's not looking up to snuff, I'll fire him right on the spot. But essentially just saying, like, hey, I'm with you, love you guys are great, like, type shit. So, but yeah, I mean, Hegseth gives this big delivery, and it just seems like it falls flat from what I saw. Like, and then also what the general response was, you could have just put this in an email or a fucking Zoom call. Like, we didn't have to stop what we were doing, stop operations, and then fucking come to this. This is a waste of fucking time. Yeah, we know what you want, dude. You've been talking about this shit this entire time. You've been making this shit happen the entire time. You've been making cuts this entire time. We get it, man. Like, you just wanted us to be in the room so we could feel your energy or something, which sounds pretty fucking woke to me. Like, I don't know what this is about. It just seemed like a kind of a bit of a jerk off for Pete. He kind of just wanted to have his moment with with the boys or something. I don't know, man. But look, I'm slamming on Pete a lot. I'll give credit where it's due. I think he's, I don't know how. Actually, let me Google this. I want to know, how old is Pete? Yeah, not Pete Buttigieg. That's old news. 45 years old. Pretty good physique. Right? I say pretty good physique because for as much as this man is alleged to have drank and drinks, Pretty crazy that he's rocking that thing. You know, he seems like he's got it on him. But I mean, okay, man. I guess yeah. No fat generals because that's just lame. That's just whack. Also, the fact too that like we have to have this whole war like like mentality ethos when it's like, dude, no one wants to put their boys in war, dude. Like, we have prided ourselves on being a society now that hasn't had to do that shit. Like, what are we talking about? That's why everyone fucking hated Afghanistan. Like, bro wants to run that shit back so bad. It's like, bro, you can't even bomb Iraq properly. Just fucking, or not Iraq. I'm sorry, Iran properly. Like, just relax, dude. Just go back to your signal and chill, dude. I don't know, but anyway, I know we're spending too much time on just this headline alone. From Axios, Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey urge Hamas to accept Trump's Gaza peace plan. So over the weekend, Netanyahu, Trump, this is like post the fucking rodeo that was the UN. They got together, they talked. Also, fun fact that I learned today. Apparently, Trump made Netanyahu apologize to Qatar for doing that whole bombing shit. So I like that. I thought that was a pretty interesting tidbit. But essentially, they outlined what I believe was a 20-point peace plan that Netanyahu is saying, hey, yeah, I'm with this. I'm okay with this. But he added the caveat of, if Hamas doesn't say yes to this, if Hamas does say yes to this, and at any point doesn't go along with it like they say they will, Israel's ready to quote unquote go it alone if they have to. Like, oh, okay, all right, yeah. AKA we want to do this shit so bad. We're so bloodthirst. Like, it's bloodthirst. Like, and to even hear too reports from multiple sources saying that like boots on the ground, IDF on the ground are like, we don't want to stop doing this. Like, we don't want to hear ceasefire talk. We don't want to hear peace talk right now. That's wild to me. Like, once again, why do you want to conduct this if it's not for, once again, the defense of the home because of the October 7th? Remember. And it's not getting the hostage back. Like, what do you mean you don't want to stop? So that was a wild, like, fucking thing to hear, like, once again, from multiple sources. But, sorry, I'm losing my fucking train of thought here. More or less, I feel like the top headline of this proposal, because I obviously haven't read all of the points, just kind of gotten a bit of a vague rundown. They want Hamas to disbar, or not disbar, but, put down their arms, get out of power, and it would be taken over by some kind of peace coalition, spearheaded by ours truly, Donald J. Trump, and Tony Blair will be making an appearance and presence in Gaza, I guess. So yeah, I mean, this is all a lot to chew through, and we don't even know if Hamas is going to accept it. I think Trump said that he was going to give them a few days, or something to that effect. So we shall see. But once again, this is another thing that I didn't want to get too in the weeds about, because we've talked proposals, we've talked peace plans, we've talked ceasefires before. All for them to just go into fucking vapor, and we still just continue fighting, and there's still just more killing. There's still more genocide. So I don't want to do that quite yet. I just wanted to at least talk about that headline-wise. But yeah, let's move on to more of the meat of the episode. At least that was kind of how I designed it. That's going along well, I guess. I don't know. From CNN. Trump places a 10% tariff on lumber and a 25% tariff on furniture and cabinets. President Donald Trump on Monday ordered significant new tariffs on wood and various wooden products, including imported lumber, timber, kitchen cabinets, and upholstered furniture, potentially adding costs to home building and furnishing, which have surged in price in recent months. In a proclamation, Trump said the United States would begin charging a 10% tariff on foreign softwood lumber and timber used in a variety of building materials. He also announced a 25% tariff on kitchen cabinets, vanities, and upholstered wooden furniture. Those rates are set to go into effect October 14th. On January 1st, Trump will boost the tariff on cabinets to 50% and upholstered furniture to 30%. He first announced those tariffs on Truth Social on Thursday. In the proclamation, Trump said the wood tariffs were necessary to shore up America's local industries and support national security. I'm skipping the quote here. But more than not, I feel like people do not think this is a good idea. And it's going to raise the price of wood for everybody. And then also like companies like Wayfair, they list some other companies as well that are also taking a hit from this alone. Yeah, Wayfair, Williams Sonoma, have tumbled. Their shares have tumbled in recent days as Trump threatened the tariffs. But Trump has said that U.S.-based furniture makers have struggled in the face of foreign imports. For example, he singled out North Carolina's fading furniture making industry in a series of social media posts last Thursday. And it's like, okay, man, but you're also raising the price of wood or lumber to make this fucking happen, right? So, like, this is in some ways counter fucking intuitive, and everyone just kind of has to bite down and take it. But that's the state of these tariffs. I was kind of, I was listening to the Daily today, and they were just kind of doing like a quick update poll on like where Trump sits. And really, I think in spite of everything that's happened, in spite of all the tariffs, in spite of all the political turmoil, yada, 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 Trump has maybe taken a bump of 2% or so in polling. So AKA, most of the people in his base, most of the people in America are still kind of in the same state of vibe with this man. They're like, yeah, whatever. We don't maybe like how, the immigration is gone exactly, but we like the fact that he's doing it, which is like, that's crazy. That's wild because you see this shit live in color and you're like, hey, that is what I voted for. Like, I guess, dog, political violence, all the fucking shit. They're just like, yeah, man, this is America. I'm fine with it. Let's just see what happens next. But to me, I really did think that people were going to be more upset about the economy. I think that might be where he was eating it the most. But once again, not enough to really wildly shake the needle, at least as of yet. But that being said, which is another crazy thing to me that I think about, is that technically as this shit like progresses, it only gets worse in terms of the tariffs. And then there's always a chance that he raises it again or does more, which is the next thing I kind of wanted to segue to. So I gotta scroll up to the top. Another CNN banger. Trump announces 100% tariff on foreign-made movies. President Donald Trump said in a Truth Social post on Monday he'll be imposing a 100% tariff on any and all movies that are made outside of the United States. Trump did not specify when or how the tariff would be enacted. Now, this is something he talked about in May, but he is ringing again now. So I've kind of gotten into the point of you really got to take him fucking serious here. And they're like, well, you don't have to take him literally. No, I think we do. Like, I think that now that these waves of tariffs have gone into effect and we really have had to endure them, I don't really see signs of him really balking or stopping, most of these tariffs that he, tweets out on his Truth Social or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird to say, hey, we are essentially going to say you have to pay double to have your movie be here in America. When it's like, aren't we trying to export our American movies to the world? Like, this seems so counterintuitive. And his defense of this is like, he said, look at California. All the actors and all the studios are moving away. Like, they're shooting abroad. Like, this is how we bring them home. It's like, dude, I don't think this is how we bring them home. I think you still have this fucking issue. I don't know. Maybe you will see more movies shot in America for more money, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Most experts, from what I'm hearing, are not liking this. They're saying this is a bad call all around. Nobody likes this. Everybody hated that. But once again, we'll see how serious he is. He hasn't necessarily put a date on it, but like I said, at this point, I believe the motherfucker. Anyway, from NBC News. Trump announces deal with Pfizer to lower drug prices, including Trump RX website. President Donald Trump announced Tuesday that his administration has reached a deal with Pfizer for it to voluntarily sell its drugs at lower prices to Medicaid patients. As part of the deal, Trump said Pfizer will sell some of its drugs on a direct-to-consumer website called Trump RX. Trump said the website will be operated by the federal government, but offered few details about how the program would work. The deal Pfizer cut with the White House will give the company a 3-year grace period on Trump's planned tariffs on pharmaceuticals made abroad, which are expected to take effect Wednesday. The agreement on lower prices will cover a large majority of Pfizer's primary care medicines, along with specialty brand name drugs, which will be offered at discounts averaging 50% and reaching as high as 85%, a spokesperson for the company said. That includes Pfizer's menopause drug Duavi, which will be available for as little as $30, an 85% reduction, the spokesperson said. The overactive bladder drug Tobias will drop 85% to $42, while its skin ointment, Racusia, I'm sure I'm getting that wrong, will see an 80% cut to $162. A senior administration official said on a separate call with reporters that the administration hopes to launch Trump RX and implement the new pricing for Medicaid patients by early 2026. The government will not sell medications on the site, but will direct patients to manufacturers, own direct-to-consumer sites, the official said. The site will be open to all Americans, which leads me to say, okay, so they're setting you up, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, I have Medicaid. I'm gonna get this drug for a cheap price. That's awesome. It's like, no, you're getting this specific drug through this company at a reduced price, but you're not getting it through your insurance. You're getting it. At least that's what I'm led to believe. I might be interpreting this very wrong, but essentially, that's not really something better for people. That's just something that is a deal specifically good for, maybe you could say, for this administration, because they're offering you something. They've made all these cuts to Medicaid and whatnot, but they're offering you this. And for this company, they get a carve out, I think, essentially for these tariffs or whatnot. And they're making money here. They're still selling to people, so they're fine, right? But this isn't necessarily a deal for the people, at least to my understanding. Let me see here. What did I want to pull? I'm in a bit of a weeds here. Pfizer and administration officials arrived at lower prices after comparing what other nations pay to so-called net pricing, which looks at the cost patients in the United States and insurance pay after rebates and discounts. The net price often better reflects what patients actually pay out of pocket compared to the list or sticker price. Experts, however, were unsure the deal would result in meaningful savings for Americans. The deal only applies to one company and one program, said Drew Altman, the president and CEO of KFF, a nonpartisan health policy research group. Stacy Dudzina, a health policy professor at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee, said direct-to-consumer sales are not going to help the average person at all with achieving lower cost. Typically, with direct-to-consumer sales, patients must pay out of pocket rather than use their insurance. Officials didn't say whether they would be able to use their insurance on Trump X. So it's a question mark whether or not they will be able to. I might be jumping the gun with that statement earlier. But it doesn't bode well. And not to mention, this is only going to be couched for specifically Medicaid, right? Or once again, if you're going to pay out of pocket, your insurance might not cover this, right? So that is a bit of a bummer, right? So it's like, okay, so we go back to the idea that you just made these Medicaid cuts and things have not gotten better. It's only getting harder to get a fucking prescription these days, only more expensive. And you're not necessarily getting any help from your government outside of saying, hey, if you go through this company, it's at least a little bit cheaper, get a bit of a discount. Isn't that nice? Isn't that neat? Like, okay, it's not Obamacare, but I guess it's what you get. Like, I don't know, man. So to me, I have my tomato ready. I'm booing it, preemptively. I don't think this is going to be the fix we're looking for in America. I think I do agree that we could use better healthcare. I just wish Democrats would have fought about it, a bit sooner, a bit harder. But hey, here we are, huh? All right, we're moving off of Trump stuff. Let's get out of the Trump first. Let's take a quick breath. I need a little bit of water, and then we'll get into, honestly, a sad story, unfortunately, coming out of Indonesia. All right, from Reuters. I'm trying to say it right now, y'all. Relatives weep for scores of missing children after deadly Indonesia school collapse. Parents were desperately searching for scores of missing teenage boys feared trapped under huge piles of concrete on Tuesday after an Islamic boarding school collapsed in Indonesia as pupils were praying inside. Authorities said 91 people were listed as missing after the Al-Khuzini school building collapsed while pupils held late afternoon prayers in a mosque housed on a lower floor of a building whose upper floors were under construction. The boarding school is in the East Java town of Sidoarjo. I'm sure I'm fucking that up. Mea culpa. About 780 kilometers or 480 miles east of Jakarta. By late evening on Tuesday, 3 bodies have been recovered, with the vast majority of presumed victims still trapped under huge slabs of concrete. 99 children, 99 children and workers at the school survived. Holy Abdullah Arif, 49, wept as he held a picture on his mobile phone of his nephew Rosie, still listed among the missing. He described his frantic search for the boy in the ruins. I ran around screaming, Rosie, Rosie, if you can hear me and can move, get out. And then a child was screaming from the back, screaming back from the rubble. He was stuck. I thought it was Rosie. So I asked, are you Rosie? And the child said, God, no, help me. Man, that was really sad. Families clustered around a whiteboard with a list of the known survivors, searching for names of their children. An excavator and a crane have been deployed to help rescuers shift the rubble, but Neneng Sujit, a local search and rescue official, said authorities would not use heavy equipment for fear of causing the remaining structure to collapse. The rescuers are still searching for 91 people. Spokesperson of the disaster mitigation agency Abdul Muhari told Reuters, adding that 26 of the injured were still being treated at local hospitals. Let's see here. That's more or less the article. So we will come back to the story if I hear any more updates. But yeah, obviously pretty fucking grim, pretty fucking sad. Obviously, you know, my heart goes out to everybody going through that fucking shit, man. I can't imagine, one, being buried alive. That's definitely a fear for me. But two, just being on the other side of that, being like having a family member, loved one that is, you know, either in that and you hope that they're alive, you hope that they're okay, you hope that they're in one piece. But then, you know, also the people who, you know, who did lose, you know, a loved one in that. That's obviously all very tragic. So, all right, we're moving on. A bit lighter news, but, you know, still serious, still heavy. Kind of closing out, though, talking about Saudi Arabia, talking about some sports washing, a little bit of that kind of talk, a little bit of that kind of vibe. But in the gaming sphere. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start here, and then we at some point are actually gonna take our last break, and then we're gonna close it out. So like I said, a bit of a weird episode, but hey, so it goes. From the BBC, gaming giant Electronic Arts bought an unprecedented $55 billion deal. Electronic Arts, or EA, one of the biggest gaming companies in the world, has agreed a deal to sell the company for $55 billion. The consortium of buyers include Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, the PIF, Silver Lake, and Jared Kushner's affinity partners. Jared Kushner, who I like reminding people, is Trump's son-in-law. EA is known for making and publishing best-selling games such as EA FC, formerly known as FIFA, The Sims, and Mass Effect. I actually heard someone today saying that they were done playing The Sims, or they were, I think, going to go play like the older versions of The Sims, like 1 and 2 or something. I don't know. I guess one in preemptive protest for this. They're like, okay, this shit's going down. I can't support this, which, you know, hey, that is a motif that I'm going to be getting to. We talk about this kind of shit. It is understood to be the largest leveraged buyout in history, where a significant amount of the purchase is financed by borrowing power. The deal will take EA private, meaning all of its public shares will be purchased and it will be no longer traded on a stock exchange. The purchase price puts a significant 25% premium on the market value of EA, valuing it at $210 per share. For some reason, this deal, they equate it more, obviously, to the $69 billion deal that Call of Duty, that Microsoft did to buy Call of Duty. Call of Duty publisher Activision, Blizzard. So they were a fused company, and they're like, okay, we're going to buy them out for this fucking big wad of cash. But this reminds me almost of like the takeover Elon Musk did. But honestly, this was like obviously done, more efficiently and with a whole group, and not just Elon Musk like trying to beg for money and stuff, and then eventually like buying out Twitter because he said he was going to do it and didn't really want to do it. This was like, okay, here's a lot of money. Give us your company, and we're going to take it private. And they said, yeah, okay, that's what we were looking for. We really just wanted a big wad of cash, so here you go. Let's see. It is the second most valuable gaming purchase in history, following Microsoft's $69 billion deal to buy Call of Duty publisher Activision Blizzard. Let's see here. I think generally people do not like this deal. It is going to set a strange precedent now of like, so are we just making these games so that we could eventually get bought out by a big whale like a Saudi Arabia, a PIF kind of thing, or, insert private private company investor here? Is that what we're doing now? Instead of saying, hey, let's make more content, let's make good quality games. Because essentially now EA might not have that focus. It might just be like, hey, we actually got bought at a loss. So, the debt has increased. It's ballooned a bit. I think it's like a 20 billion plus kind of situation. So we really got to crank out the hits. Madden's got to be the best Madden it's ever been. Battlefield's got to be the best Battlefield, so on and so forth. And it's not going to be about taking risks. It's not going to be about making that new breakout game. But I mean, it's also argued too that maybe this is just a fucking bad buy, because EA is not exactly like it's known. It's a very big company. You could almost say in the gaming world, too big to fail, right? And maybe that's the fucking like theory and logic here. But also it's a AAA gaming company, and I feel like more times than not, people are not very impressed by the games that have come out. Maybe I don't think that's really a hot take in the gaming community. It's one of those things where if it's your game, by all means, for sure you're gonna like it. Like if we're talking The Sims, that's gonna be a hit to you, right? Bada bing, bada boom. They did put out the Harry Potter game. That was very controversial, obviously, just on the property of it being Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling joint, all that fucking bullshit. But people were like, oh, I mean, this is my shit. I wanted to play this game. So, I mean, EA made that happen for you. So a lot of people did play that fucking game, right? But once again, are you going to make crazy big risks, big moves in this kind of situation? No, you're not. But you could argue once again, EA probably wasn't really doing that anyway. Let's see. In March of 2025, the nation's investment fund paid $3.5 billion to purchase the gaming division of Niantic, giving it control of the hit mobile game Pokemon Go. They also wound up doing the same kind of thing with Monopoly Go. So, I mean, you're just seeing the tentacles kind of expand and acquire more and more things in different areas. I've mentioned before that the PIF at one point bought all the parking meter like debt tickets or whatever in like Chicago, which I'm like, what? Why would they do that? But it's like, once again, you have trillions of dollars to spend here, and you are trying to diversify your assets in any way, shape, or form you can. And, kind of coming back to the article, in the gaming world, this is something that you can do. They feel like it's a viable fucking space, and so they're going to go and throw their money there. But naturally, people are going to go, well, what about the human rights violations? Jamal Khashoggi gets mentioned, the journalist who was hacked up, and Saudi Arabia goes, hey, we had nothing to do with that. That wasn't us, even though all signs point to that. But they're like, nah, it wasn't me. We didn't do it. And I mean, like I said, it's a whole fucking thing. But that's going to lead us to our part 2 here. I kind of don't want to get ahead of myself here. But that being said, they are big in the gaming space. I want to read this part here, actually. Saudi Arabia has made waves in the esports industry, hosting major tournaments, including the Esports World Cup, and it will also host 2027's planned Olympic esports games. And I would attest that they actually do a good job. I watch a lot of gaming live streams. I don't watch much football. Obviously, I'm not a sports ball guy, but I will definitely say I do geek out and watch gaming tournaments a lot, whether it be fighting games, card games, whatever. I like to tune in. Even shit, sometimes I like to zone out and just watch poker. And I don't even know what's really going on half the fucking time, but I just like it in the background, and I like watching the big moments, right? I love that. But I will give Saudi Arabia credit. They throw an amazing, well-run fucking tournament. And it's cool to see. I mean, I get why people have their fucking scruples, but once again, I'm gonna say my tagline is not mine. I didn't make the fucking shit up, but there's just no ethical consumption under capitalism, man. As long as this is about making fucking money, they're going to use that money to have influence, to have power, to diversify once again what they can do in this world, so they can not just be like oil rich. They want to be rich on all fronts, in all dimensions. Even in Call of Duty, like I don't know, man, it's crazy. But once again, I'm kind of dragging a bit. Let's get to our second part of this, talking about Saudi Arabia. There's also a comedy festival thing happening in Saudi Arabia called Riyadh. I should have had this queued up, but I believe it's called the Riyadh Comedy Festival, which is making big waves. In the comedy world, people are having a lot of takes and a lot of opinions, and I just at least wanted to read the headline a bit, yap really quick, and we'll call it an episode. So yeah, let's go ahead and take our last break real quick. U.S. comedians defend decision to play in Saudi Arabia. They're paying you enough to look the other way. Billed as the biggest comedy festival in the world, the inaugural Riyadh Comedy Festival, which is running September 26th to October the 9th, features some of the biggest names in U.S. comedy. The lineup features Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K., Bill Burr, Kevin Hart, Whitney Cummings, Pete Davidson, Aziz Ansari, and Joe Coy, among many others, who are all taking their fees directly from the Saudi government. The event's producers include Sila, a live events company owned by Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, and the kingdom's General Entertainment Authority, chaired by Turki al-Sheikh, a royal advisor dogged by allegations of human rights violations, including the detention of people who criticize him on social media. Obviously a very fucked up guy. US-based talent agency William Morris Endeavor, or WME, and Bruce Hills, the former president of famed Just for Laughs Comedy Festival in Montreal and head of Bruce Hills Entertainment, are also involved as consultants and producers. The comedians have already received criticisms from Human Rights Watch, which argued in a news release that the festival is an effort by the Saudi regime to whitewash its notorious abuses. This whitewashing comes amid significant increase in repression, said HRW researcher Joey Sia, including a crackdown on free speech, which many of these comedians defend, but people in Saudi Arabia are completely denied. So yeah, a lot of people have had a lot of takes. I know Mark Maron is booing. Hell, even Stavros Halkias from Comtown fame has had some takes where he was like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not going to participate in this. I got offered. I said no. What was it? David Cross, Tobias Funke, Arrested Development. He really decried the people who are taking part in this, saying he was deeply disgusted and disappointed by the whole situation, the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, look, Pete Davidson, I think, he lost his dad in 9/11. And, there are links from Saudi Arabia to 9/11. And it's like, yeah, the money's good though. You know what I mean? And a lot of these, there are people who are like, oh yeah, I got the offer, but I said no. I'll just make it up and do 40 shows? And I'll be good, right? But it's like, yeah, that must be a fucking joke, because it's like, yeah, man, it's a lot of money being thrown your way. I completely get it. But also, it is, I imagine, a very surreal, weird thing to go to a place like Saudi Arabia and do comedy, but know that it's probably not the comedy that maybe you really want to do. But it is subject to fit. I mean, shit, I've seen this in terms of wrestling. because we covered it a bit too with the whole changing of the guard, the merger, yada, yada, yada. Endeavor was involved in that fucking shit, right? So at the end of the day, we got to see kind of the road to where we are, and actually kind of chiming it back to work, because we were talking about this a little bit. Of course, I queued up the conversation talking about the news, and someone chimed in. It's like, yeah, like WrestleMania is going to be in Saudi Arabia. Like, that's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, they've had events already in Saudi Arabia, so that doesn't surprise me. That makes fucking sense. But yeah, I mean, I understand why people are upset about this. But this to me is something that all superpowers are doing. All Western, powers are doing this kind of fucking shit. You can say, yeah, China, India, all these motherfuckers. If you have the ability to, you are going to use your money, your power, in all kinds of ways to influence shit and get away with whatever the fuck you're going to try to get away with. I'm not excusing the fucking behavior. You should decry it, but I think it's better to try to fucking change the systems at hand that allow it. And, that don't allow us to be trying to treat it as fucking people, right? That allow Saudi Arabia to, like, say, hey, we're pretty much going to do open slave labor to do what we want, get what we want. And, we'll just do some fucking comedy shows and run some gaming tournaments to make up for it. We'll like throw up some Olympic stuff or whatever. Who knows? Whatever. It's fine. It's cool, man. Everything's going to be okay. But once again, that is what every fucking quote unquote great nation does. I mean, cool. I get it, man. I'm glad that Tobias Funke has his beef and his gripes. He's right to do that. Same with Mr. Marin, but I get why Bill Burr is doing it, even though he talks shit about not doing some shit like that. And you can call him a hypocrite. Yeah, I mean, sure. A lot of motherfuckers will be for fucking money. So, yeah. And also, too, I guess maybe my closing... Oh, sorry. I bumped the mic. I bumped the table. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't think any of these motherfuckers are that funny. I personally wouldn't spend the coin to fucking fly my ass to Saudi Arabia, be uncomfortable, be worried, be like stone sober unless I can pay a bunch of money to go to the VIP Bud Light area and sip a beer maybe if I'm lucky. No, man, I don't want to go through all that. I'm cool. Just to see some comedy that I probably could just watch on Netflix or something. Like, maybe seeing Aziz would be okay for nostalgia's sake, but it's probably not going to be that funny. I didn't watch the last shit, you know what I mean? Also, finding out, because they talk about this in the article, that, like, Louis C.K., super fucking canceled for, being gross, being a pervert, whatever, still making pretty fucking decent money. He sent the receipts to prove it, or at least, his money guy did. So I'm like... God damn, that to me was maybe the most shocking, surprising thing. But it goes back to my point of, like, what the fuck is canceled? Motherfuckers always want to talk about being fucking canceled. You're fine if you are just funny enough, or you're talented enough, or you do your thing fucking enough. Sadly, for better or worse, people get over that shit. And I don't know, maybe we can talk about that. Maybe make a discourse about that. But once again, you can boo Saudi Arabia. I'm not really trying to yuck your yum at the end of the day. I don't know why I have such a fucking stance on this shit, but I just get very annoyed when we do this finger pointing thing at other countries, and then we go, see how bad that is, see how fucked up that is, and it's like, yeah, man, it's fucked up, but like, are we gonna ever do anything to like actually talk about these problems, or are we just gonna boo people? And then like, if we go for the entertainment, you're just gonna boo people for enjoying said entertainment. I don't like where it all spills to and goes to, and once again, we're not trying to attack any kind of real issue or problem. You're just saying, once again, Saudi Arabia bad, China bad. I don't know. I just want to see something different, or talk about something different if we're going to actually talk about fixing it. I don't know. That's me. That's where I'm at with it. But yeah, that was the episode. There we go. I've riffed. I've ranted. I really, though, I would have loved to have just ran this whole article down. This was a very good article to read from The Guardian. I don't even think I said that. That's my fucking bad. But yeah, from The Guardian. Definitely, I would suggest it if you're an article head like myself. I feel like all the articles today were pretty good. But yeah, that one in particular, I just wanted to at least say my shit on that and call it a day. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have. If you would like to help out, support the effort, become a newsie today. It's the, from between now and the next one, we do the roll call. It's first of the month. It's tomorrow. So get in while you fit in. Get a shout out. Plug a project if you like, things like that. But free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you like to listen. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. 5 stars are appreciated on the Spotify or the Apple Podcast. But if you don't do any of that, that's cool. It's fine. I appreciate you just listening to me fumble around for the past 45 minutes or so. That you're a real one for that. I really love you. So yeah, let's see. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.